In this video, I'll be sharing a simple recipe for a homemade pickle that's absolutely delicious and great for reducing food waste. This recipe is a great way to use up surplus fruit and veg. Rather than throw them away, you can make them into this pickle, which will be great for pairing with cheese or added to a sandwich. The recipe is super simple. All you need is 1.5 kilos of fruit and vegetables, 500 grams of sugar, 500 milliliters of malt vinegar, 5 half teaspoon measures of spices, and 1 teaspoon of salt. That's it. The ingredients can be scaled. These quantities will make about 2 and a bit standard jars, but you can half or multiply the ingredients to make a batch size that suits you. This is a very forgiving recipe. You can pretty much use any combination of fruit, vegetables and spices and get great results every time. Although I would avoid starchy vegetables like potato and leafy vegetables like spinach or cabbage. Everything else is pretty much fair game. Tomatoes, swede, grapes, apples, courgettes, bananas, whatever you have to hand really. But I would always advise throwing in some onions or shallots for a good flavour. For this version of the pickle, I've gone through my kitchen to see what I have available to make up 1.5 kilos of fruit and veg. I have 3 shallots, a tomato, a nectarine, an apple, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 carrots, an onion, and 6 pears. For the sugar, I'm using brown. You can use white, but brown will give a better colour. If you like, you can substitute some of the sugar with dried fruits, such as raisins, sultanas, or prunes. When it comes to the spices, this is where you can get really creative, or you can just use whatever you have available. Pretty much anything will work. See what you have in your cupboard and cater it to your tastes. Think along the lines of cumin, turmeric, mustard powder, chili flakes, curry powder, allspice, that kind of thing. For this version, I've chosen mustard powder, cumin, ginger, allspice, and curry powder. When you've chosen your selection of fruit and vegetables, you'll then need to categorise them into 3 groups. The first group is the firm items that take longer to cook, such as carrots and onions. The second group is for the less firm items that will cook slightly quicker. Think fruit, such as apples or pears. The third group is for the soft items that won't take long to cook at all. In my case, my tomato and my nectarine. You'll then need to peel and chop your items, making sure you keep them in their groups. You can of course keep the peel on, if that's your preference. When chopping, you should consider how smooth or chunky you want your pickle to be. If you like a chunky pickle, cut your fruit and veg into chunks. If you prefer a smoother pickle, you can finely chop your fruit and veg. Or you could even mince them in a food processor. I'm going to begin by cooking the firm vegetables first. There's 300 grams of firm items here, which is 20% of the total weight needed for the recipe. So I'm going to add 20% of the vinegar to the pan to match it. Adding the fruit and veg with different firmness at different times prevents the softer items from just boiling down into a complete mush. I'm going to bring this to the boil and let it simmer for 20 minutes. I'll then add the less firm fruit and veg. I have 600 grams of my less firm items here, which is 40% of the total weight needed for the recipe. So I'm going to add 40% of the vinegar to the pan to match it. I'm going to let this boil for another 10 minutes before I add the soft items, as well as the remaining vinegar and my sugar. You'll then need to bring your pan back to a boil. Once the mixture is boiling again, you can add the spices and stir them through. You can also add the salt at this stage. You'll now want to continue boiling your mixture for about an hour or so to reduce the liquid and break down the ingredients, bringing them all together. You can see that everything has started to break down and there's hardly any liquid left. This is now ready to be placed in jars. The great thing about this pickle is that you don't need to mess around with sterilising your jars. These jars have just been washed and dried. The vinegar, sugar and salt will keep the pickle preserved. It's worth putting your pickle in the jars whilst it's still hot. Fixing the lid on the jar whilst your pickle is still warm will create a partial vacuum and pop down the safety cap on your jar lids. You can eat the pickle straight away, but it'll be even better if you leave it to mature for a month or so. It'll be well worth the wait. In terms of shelf life, this pickle will last until the cows come home. And it'll just get better and better with age. Even if you forget about it and find it in the back of a cupboard years later, it'll still be fantastic. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has inspired you to have a go at making your own homemade pickle. I provided the full recipe in the description.